Good day, Rifters! Welcome to the first episode of How the Pros Do It, where we'll be breaking down how the pros play a certain champion in Wild Rift. Today, we're gonna be covering Rebengga and how he plays Xin Zhao. Rebengga's real name is Kurt Cristobal, and he's a Filipino that plays in Team Red, right? It's a pro team for League of Legends who competes internationally. But right now, he's playing Wild Rift, so his skills are there, and let's see what we can learn from him when he plays Wild Rift. Xin Zhao is a very strong champion. It's because he has a very strong early to mid game. And if you get a good game at the early and mid part of the game, you can snowball and have a great late game also. At the first stop, he tried to check. He went to the upper part of the river, most probably to check if the enemy champion is gonna try to steal a blue buff. And after that, he goes down for his camp. The first skill he took is the third skill. That's a very wise pick because not only that the third skill of Xin Zhao attacks in an area, it also boosts up your attack speed after casting the skill. So that means more DPS, that means you can kill the camps faster. Alright, so the first camp he tries to kill is the Raptor's camp. This is interesting because usually what players do is get the red buff first before going to the Raptors, right? But in this case, Rebengga does the Raptors first. Most probably because this is on solo queue, so to be safe, he went for the Raptors. This is very wise because what usually happens is that if you do the red buff first and if the enemy team decides to invade, what usually happens is when you're trying to clear the red buff, most probably you've already casted your skills. You don't have full HP anymore because of the red brambleback attacking you. When they arrive, you are at a disadvantage already. So you have no choice but to move back. And then chances are they're gonna be stealing your red buff, or worse, you die and then get the red buff still. That puts you in a very big disadvantage as a jungler. So this is a very wise move of Rebengga, going for the Raptors first. Let's proceed. Alright, so he uses Smite already. Alright, goes for the red camp, but while doing the normal attacks, he's trying to look at the other lanes. This is very good so that you're efficient, and uses the second Smite on the red buff, checks the lower lane, checks the mid lane, and checks the upper lane to see if there are extended lanes. Level 2 you can already gank, but since there is no extended lanes as of the moment, he went directly for the blue buff. So he leveled up the first skill, level 2, level 3 he leveled up the second skill. Upper lane is overextended, so he will be trying to gank here. So quick note, right? Always check the lanes while you're doing your auto attack. So try to assess the map whenever you're doing auto attacks, right? This is a very important skill for your junglers so that you will know if there are extended lanes, you can help right away. This is the role of a jungler. If you're a good jungler, then most probably your team is gonna win. So in this case, Rebengga saw that the top lane is already overextended. He's gonna go for the Lux. Interesting here is that look at his settings. He has the champion targeting on, right? So he clicked on Lux so that whenever he casts the skills, it will automatically cast to Lux. So he casts his third skill on Lux, the normal attack, then the first skill for Lux. Ayan. So Vayne is still here. Vayne kills his teammate, and he will be killing Vayne. Alright, very good. So interesting events there, right? So if you notice, his third skill is already available, but he did not use it right away. He knows that Vayne has a first skill which will roll and dive to escape. So because he knew that will happen, he didn't cast the third skill first, right? He waited for Vayne to roll and then casts his third skill after Vayne's roll so that he can chase Vayne. What happens is that if he casted his third skill first, if Vayne survives and rolls, he won't be able to chase Vayne anymore. So very good execution by Rebengga here. The combo that he used for Lux is the third skill, then normal attack, then first skill right away to knock Lux up and finish Lux, and then went for Vayne. This is a very interesting combo, right? Use your normal attack first and then cast the first skill right away, because what will happen is it will cancel the normal attack animation and then cast the first skill right away. So that's 2 consecutive fast attacks. That means more DPS from you in a very short time. So it's very important that you do the normal attack first before casting the first skill. After killing the Scuttler, his Smite is already ready for leveling up. And he chooses the second skill. Since it's a very normal attack dependent champion, so the slower the enemy is, the better it is for Xin Zhao. his third normal attacks heals himself, so you have to throw many normal attacks for you to be sustainable. So slow is very useful for Xin Zhao. So the first item that he bought is serrated dirt, the boots, which is going to be very helpful. First item is aiming for is the Yumu's Ghost Blade. That's a very good item to build for Xin Zhao. So after buying the items and going home, he's looking at the bottom lane. Alright, so while bottom lane is battling, he went for the bush. And there it is. So what happened here is he did not cast the first skill anymore. What he did was the third skill to charge the enemy, and then casted the second skill right away to burst down the enemy. If you noticed, his second skill is already set level 2. He is going to be prioritizing and leveling up the second skill here first. He's going to be leveling up the second skill whenever possible, and then next is the third skill for the prioritization, and then lastly is the first skill. That's for his skill build. It is very good because the first skill doesn't really offer that much of a damage. The second skill gives you burst and slows the enemy, so it's gonna be a very important skill for your combo. So prioritize the second skill and the third skill first. Alright, so that's a kill for them. His teammate is already low. Right, so Amumu is there, so he's trying to protect his teammate. Teammate still died, but most probably he's gonna be able to kill the Yasuo too. Alright, so there it is. He killed the Yasuo. And the combo that he does for Yasuo is the normal attack, then the second skill, and the third skill. And that was enough to kill Yasuo. Alright, so right now he's already level 7. And if you notice, his second skill is already at the max. Alright, so this is the skill build that you should be looking at also. Alright, he is gonna be getting the red buff again. So after killing the red buff, he doesn't have any mana anymore, and he has enough funds to get the Yumu's Ghost Blade. So he is TPing back home. If you notice there, he switched to Sweeper after getting the Ghost Blade. Right, so he doesn't do any warding anymore. As a jungler, your role is to gank, and it's gonna be very hard for you to gank if there are wards along the way. So you have to sweep and destroy those wards so that you can gank them the next time. This adds pressure to the enemy because if their wards are dead, that helps your team a lot because the enemies will not be that aggressive because they don't have vision. Very wise move for Rebengga right there. He's looking at the top lane again. Look at this. He's trying to sweep first for wards, so he is able to see the ward. But the clash is already available. He missed the second skill, but they are still able to kill the Lux. Vayne is trying to dive and killed Ezreal. Alright, so Vayne is just gonna do suicide. Vayne knows he's gonna die already. So mid lane, he sees Amumu. He already has early game advantage. He has the red buff, so he can take on Amumu already one-on-one. And there it is, he killed Amumu one-on-one. It's very fast to kill Amumu already. It's because he already has the Ghost Blade. That's a very important item for Xin Zhao. Notice he did not farm. As a jungler, you don't really have to farm that much. If you do not have any lanes to gank, try to look for objectives that you can take. In this case, they're taking Dragon. Right, let's see what happens. Lux is there and Yasuo is there also. They can contest for the Dragon, but the contest failed. And Lux was there for the taking, so he casted the third skill and charged to Lux, and Lux should be dead. Alright, so he's sweeping for wards, especially at this bushy area, because enemy champs usually ward there, so he's sweeping that area. Alright, he takes the Raptor camp of the enemy. I believe he tries to go up. Alright, they're gonna be killing the Lux, and Lux is already dead. You can already burst enemies very fast if you already have the Ghost Blade, so that's why he's being aggressive. So you notice there, they killed the creeps first. This sandwiches Vayne, and if their creeps will push, the tower are gonna shoot the creeps and they can attack Vayne, and Vayne is gonna die for sure. Right now, Vayne knows she's gonna die, so she's desperate. She's just gonna dive Ezreal. Try to take down someone with him if he dies. But Ezreal got a kill, so that's good for the team. It's a very big advantage for Rebengga's team already. 11-4. Tries to take the blue buff. Right, so Rebengga here is telling us the jungle creeps that he focuses on the scuttlers, always the scuttlers as much as possible. Try to get the scuttlers because again, it gives vision to the team. If the enemy team has vision, it's gonna be very hard for you to gank. That's why he contests scuttlers whenever he can. The jungle creeps that he focuses on are the scuttlers, the blue buff, the red buff, and the raptors only. He doesn't have to go to the other camps like the wolves, the rocks, because it will take time from you. Time for what? Time for being aggressive. As a jungler, again, you have to be aggressive. So these are the only jungle creeps that he kills so that he can focus more on ganking. Alright, so he goes home, buys his items, checks out middle lane. Middle lane is now overextended, but his teammate is already dead, so we won't be able to do anything about it. So he checks the map, thinks that he's gonna go down. Bottom lane died, so he has an opportunity for the Rift Herald, so he takes that opportunity. Again, if you don't have anyone to gank, try to look for objectives that you can take, and he's trying to get the objective. He saw a Mumu at the bottom lane. I believe he's gonna be helping to kill a Mumu right there. Third skill, he missed his second skill. He uses his flash, and first skill kills a Mumu. Right, he has no HP left. He tried to, there you go. What you saw there was, usually what we do is go down, right? But Rebengga has map awareness, right? What happened there was he tried to go down and see if he can exit from there, but he saw Yasuo and the map. So what he does is he went to the left instead, and that was a very wise move for him. Map awareness is very important when you're playing. Look at Garen. If you don't have any map awareness, you will most probably have been going for the Nasus still, and this is what happened to Garen, right? Alright, so this is very interesting. What Rebengga did was cast his first skill and then attack the frog twice. This way your attack counter is already at 2. At the third attack, it will already knock up the enemy, right? So he attacked the frog twice, so that if he attacks the enemy and casts the third skill, it will knock up the enemy right away. Look at what happens here. There you go. So after casting the third skill, it's an instant knock up for Xin Zhao, and it's a very powerful move. So you can do that every now and then. If there is a neutral creep available or even enemy creeps available, you can attack the creeps twice and then use your third skill on the enemy. What that does is it charges you towards the enemy and knocks up the enemy right away. So that's a very powerful technique. Because of that, they were able to kill 2 of the enemy champs. Alright, so Nasus is there. Enemies 2 at the top, so you have to be very aware of the map. You don't know where the other enemies are, so most probably they're after you already, so you have to back out. That is what Rebengga did. Since he can only see 3 enemies on the map, he had no information where the other 2 are. He gave it the benefit of the doubt and just disengaged instead and went back. So this way he did not die. He already has 7 kills as of the moment, and dying gives a very big boost to the enemy because of your bounty. Once you have a kill streak, you have a bounty on your head, and if the enemy champion kills you, they get extra gold. It can change the game. So after that, he went home. He completed his Trinity Force, and then he's going to be getting ninja stasis at the same time. These 3 items are very useful for Xin Zhao, and then the stasis is going to be very useful because Xin Zhao is an initiator. If you initiate a fight and find yourself in a very bad situation, you can use the stasis so that you will be invulnerable. The enemy champions have no choice but try to fight the other champions instead, and you can look to try to escape once the stasis is finished. Alright, so again, sweeper, very important for a jungler to keep sweeping. There it is. He saw a ward right there. So next time he goes through this area, the enemy's not gonna see him, and the gank is most probably gonna be successful because of that. So he sees the upper lane. It's most probably he's gonna help the teammates right here. So he didn't go aggressively. He wanted the enemy to extend first before he tries to get in. So now, since the enemy is already extended, he now tries to get in, casts his third skill, but he saw that there's a third enemy that arrived, so he disengaged. This is very wise. If you think you cannot win the fight, look at Garen, he's missing most of his life. other teammate already lost half of his life. So it's gonna be a challenging fight for the team. So he decides to disengage. Look at the difference. Garen tried to save Israel but died instead. He disengaged and tried to survive. Again, it's very important for him to survive because he already has 7 kills. The bounty in his head is already very big, most probably around 500 already. So it's much better to survive right there and then try to help your friend. So you have to process these kinds of information while you're playing. So it's very important. So map awareness, he sees the enemy at the dragon area, so most probably the enemy is gonna take the dragon. He has full life, so he will try to check if he can kill the dragon. But be very careful when doing this. He knows that his flash is already almost available, so he can try to check this out, maybe steal the dragon. So he's gonna attempt that. Alright, so what he does, he sees the enemies trying to kill the dragon, but there are 3 of them, so he backs out, but his flash is available, so he can flash right there. Enemy already got the dragon. Look at the usefulness of the sweeper, right? So you see there are 3 wards because he is sweeping. Just one sweep, he is able to cancel 3 wards from the enemy, which is very, very crucial and helpful for the team. So now the enemy team doesn't have vision on the river, and that becomes his territory. Alright, he's gonna go home. He already has funds to buy Guardian Angel, so he is gonna be getting that. This is his core items. Again, the items are Ghostblade, second is the Trinity Force, and then the Guardian Angel. Once you have these 3 items, the other items that you will need aside from the stasis is now purely situational, right? If the enemy is quite painful already, you can go for armors. If the enemy is not that painful, you can go for damage items. In this case, he's going to be going for Bloodthirster. That gives him additional DPS and sustainability because it gives heal to him. Right, so at this part of the game, we're already at mid to late part of the game. It's gonna be very hard for Rebengga to kill enemies because they already have advantage in the map. Chances are that enemy team is gonna be turtling up inside their base. So what they did was they tried to pressure and faked a Baron. What this does is this pressures the enemy to try to steal Baron because at this point they're already at an advantage with the map, with farm, with kills. A Baron take is gonna be the nail in the coffin for the enemy team. And there it is. This is what happened. Once the enemy is already out of the base, it's a good chance for them to engage the enemy, and that is what they did, and they won the clash again. Yeah, so you saw what he did there. Those are micro movements that you have to master in the game. Also, he knew that Yasuo was gonna cast his tornado towards him, so he evaded that first before clashing with Yasuo. Okay, so Nasus is still there. But he's greatly outnumbered, so that's an easy kill for them. They only needed to cast the third and second skill for that. Baron is available since 4 of the enemy team is still dead. What they're doing is still pressure in the mid, and the 3 of them is gonna be doing the Baron. This is gonna be important for you guys. If Baron is available, the other 2 of your team can pressure and push the mid lane, and then while the other 3 try to get the Baron. Now, once you get the Baron, what he did is he went home, right? If you have the Baron buff, your TP is gonna be much faster, so take advantage of that and try to reset and then try to buy the items that you need for the Baron push, right? With the Baron push, it's gonna be very advantageous for your team. What usually the pro team does when there's a Baron push is a 1-3-1 lane. 1 at the top, 3 at the middle, and then another 1 at the bottom lane, so that you're pressuring all sides. You don't have to win it right away and go all in the middle. Again, this is an objective game, so try to get as much objective as you can. In this case, towers. So a 1-3-1 strategy with Baron buff is very useful. Right, now he's pressuring the bottom lane while his teammates are going for the top lane and the middle. So the Nasus is trying to clash with him since Amumu is there. So what he did is, because even if he's already strong, he went backwards. That's okay, because if the enemies go here towards him, the other lanes are gonna push with the Baron buff. I don't know why Nasus decided to engage with him. Maybe Nasus feels like he's already very strong. But there you go, because he already has his core items, he has a very good advantage. He was able to melt Nasus. Nasus is trying to hide under the tower. And then what he does is he flashed inside and then second skill to kill the Nasus. And then the tower is dead. Amumu is there. Oh, he died with the Amumu. But Amumu died. That's the importance of Guardian Angel. You saw it there, right? He died, but he did not go back, because if he died, he still has Guardian Angel, right? So Amumu died instead, and he is still alive. Right, so it's already at 12-0. He is gonna get in and go for the Nexus, and that's a win already, right? Right, so before we end the video, the things that you really need to focus on, as we saw in Rebengga's gameplay, is to focus on ganking, right? Check out the jungle path used for his ganking. The jungle path he used for ganking is very important because he can focus more on pressuring and visiting lanes and ganking, not just farm and farm and farm. We see this error by junglers, that junglers just keep farming. You won't win the game that way. It's best if you focus on ganking and pressuring the lanes. Then focus on objectives after getting your core items. That should help you a lot in your game. Check out Rebengga's YouTube channel. Search for Rebengga in YouTube. And we hope you liked the video. We hope you've earned your subscription. If you want more videos like this, please do subscribe. That's it for today's video. Till next time, be a legend.